Good morning, everybody. Dr. John Michael Salvato here, and you're watching the Peak Performance Blueprint, a daily program where we talk about just one mind shift that you can make each day to impact the 6 dimensions of wellness and help you to achieve peak performance in all areas of your life. And today's topic is going to be a really big challenge for me. So I hope you're up for it as I am. And what inspired that that feeling, that idea that this was a good time to pick up this challenge was that a couple days ago it was on the curriculum, and the quote that I put in the curriculum to remind me was from Jim Rohn, and he said, to paraphrase, he said, the peak performance is achieved by the use of brevity. He said, Jesus of Nazareth said, follow me. Now you can't get any more brief than that. And I was like, yeah, he said it's the reason that he could be brief in his message was that aside from being a fictitious character, was that the life that he lived, who he became, spoke more than the words that he said. And so I started thinking about that, and I thought, that really is resonant with all of what Jim Rohn taught us. He taught us, don't look for your business to make something for you. Look to your business to make something of you. And that we bring value to the marketplace, not by what we do, but by who we are. And so the challenge today is for each one of us to seriously give thought to how much of what we say on a daily basis, not just in our business, not just in our communication with people outside, but even in our day-to-day lives and our conversations with one another, with ourselves, is verbose. Too many words, too much chatter, too much noise. Are we adding to the noise in the world, or are we adding to the value in the world? And so the big challenge for me as a teacher and a minister and an activist is to keep that message brief. And it really pushes us. I mean, I know in my own life that the reason I'm not as active on Twitter as I am on Facebook is Twitter limits me to 140 characters. And so I'm picking up the challenge, and I'm going to become more active on Twitter because I think it's a good training tool for someone like me to learn how to get my message across in 140 characters. Now, I don't know if I can do it. I'm not sure that's a challenge I'm going to be very good at, but I'm still going to give it 30 days and see what comes up, what I discover about myself and about my communications. So that is, the one side of it is I could probably talk for 15 minutes about being brief, but that would be kind of counterproductive to the topic. So let's start the discussion right now. And my goal was to keep my reflection to 5 minutes or less, and I still have 2 minutes to go, and I'm not going to waste them. So tell me what you think about that. Tell me what comes up for you when you think about being brief in your communications, and how many times, in the course of the day, do you think you're just really talking too much? And we'll talk a little bit about what happens when you talk too much in the business world in a few minutes. But let me hear from some of you guys about what your thoughts are, regarding being brief.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Kind of the opposite's been my problem all my life. I've always been that one, like you've mentioned, 1-2 word syllables, every now and then it's a that kind of thing. So, and even in my writing, even as far back as I can remember, kind of the Amadeus principle, too many notes. When I was writing, I always had the teacher sitting there going, we asked you for a 3-page paper, you handed us a 20-page thesis. And it's like, I have a lot to say, I just don't verbalize it. I write it all down. I've done presentations when I was in massage school. It was supposed to be a 10-minute presentation. It took me an hour. It was that kind, because I wanted to include so much information. So yeah, I know that I've got that kind of dichotomy going on where I need to really be generous with my words. I know there's an Eddie Murphy movie where he's a lawyer and every human being on the planet is given a certain amount of words, and he ran out of words. So I mean, I have to keep that in the back of my head. For as horrible as that movie was, I try to keep that in my head of use your words generously, but use them sparingly as well. You know, be creative, be colorful, be descriptive, but you know, bring it in a little bit as well. You know, there's a time and place for everything. And much like you've said, so much is said when you don't say anything. There's a whole lot in that pregnant pause. There's a whole lot into listening to other people and figuring out, you know, what do they need, and it's probably not listening to my mouth ramble. So I know I definitely need to watch my word conservation, as it were.
Right on. And you stole a little bit of my thunder because I was actually going to share that quote because the you know, they, whoever they are, tell us that from the beginning of recorded time until 2005, a certain amount of information was communicated in the world. And that same amount of information that we learned and shared and expressed from the beginning of recorded history to 2005 is shared every 48 hours now. Now, that's not the same quality. It's the amount of information that's been shared from in that period of time. So every 48 hours, well, you know, we know that there's a certain amount of increase in the value of that information and technology itself. But there, I find it difficult to believe that as much information as was shared in those first, you know, that first span of thousands and thousands of years is being shared every 48 hours. So a lot of it is you know, useless chatter. And you know, I would be in trouble, I know, in my life if I was given a limited number of words in the course of a lifetime. I would be silent for, and that was even after being in the monastery where I had to be silent for 8 hours a day. I still think I would have run out of words. So let's hear from some other folks. Thanks, Jen. That was a great point to bring up.
Yeah, I'm told that I have the gift of gab, so I don't know when to be quiet, when it's just hard for me to put it in very little words and not talk. But as long as I can do it on the computer, I'm fine, or on the phone because I hate texting. So it's easier. But to do, like, to talk to someone one-on-one, as I was telling you last night, you know, I basically, you know, get into a conversation and they asked and I try to tell them and then give them the link and say, I got to go and just leave. I forced myself to leave because I would stand and talk forever.
Right.
So this is going to be a huge challenge for me.
Good. I love when these things are challenges, and you know, and you just, I love that you're making that effort, that you recognize the importance in business to get that, to let systems do the work for you, because number one, it's a great conservation of your own energy and your own words. Excuse me. And number two, it guarantees more that the right people are going to get the whole message. And the wrong people aren't going to get it. Somebody asked me last night, our friend Wes, who some of you may know, was talking to somebody who said they're juggling 7 businesses or they've got 7 streams of income. They didn't say they were juggling 7 businesses, but they are. And he said, so what would you say to that person? I said, absolutely nothing, because they clearly have shiny ball syndrome. And excuse me, and if they're, you know, juggling 7 businesses right now, they're not going to be able to hear you. They don't have time to listen to your message. So just cultivate that relationship, you know, bring value to the conversation, but don't even talk to them about the business, because this isn't the time to talk to them about the business. So you're doing really well, Lori, by you know, just you know, communicating to somebody, you know, an excitement, a level of enthusiasm. And when they want more information, say, hey, let me give you a link. Or what I like to say if I'm on the phone is grab a pen. So if you remember GAP, grab a pen, jot this website down. Grab a pen, jot this video link down, and just let them know that the video itself is going to be brief. It's going to be a 20-minute or 30-minute video, and we're going to redo that video. In your case, for our primary business, just so that you guys know, we're going to redo that video as soon as Scott's feeling better, because he still has a frog in his throat and isn't able to do the video just yet. So thank you for that, Laura. And let's hear from Katrina and then Robert. Oh, Kat can't speak today. She said she's not someplace where she could talk. So, Robert, go ahead, and I know you've got some thoughts.
Yes, and I started with one, and you've all given me about a dozen more. So, for the sake of brevity, how about I cut that down to a few?
Okay.
I'm reminded, and you spoke to this, John Michael, the old line, I can't hear what you're saying because what you're doing speaks so loudly. And I think the direct corollary of that is also true, as Laura, I think it's Laura was speaking to. I can't hear what, they're never going to be able to hear what I'm saying if they're doing way too much. So the very first step is I have to make sure that we're in a real communication, that I'm giving my time to you and you're giving your time to me. And then a line that I was given many years ago, speak your truth and speak it fast and let it lie. Way too many people tiptoe and dance their way around their topic or what it is. Well, I wanted to talk to you about this and that, and it takes 10 minutes to get to your point. Speak your truth, speak it fast, and let it lie. And if people want more information, they'll ask for it. And if they don't, cool, we move on to the next point. So I'll end with one of my all-time favorite lines on brevity. It was William Shakespeare that first wrote that brevity is the soul of wit. And while I don't know who Dorothy Parker is, she took that line and took it one step further. Brevity is the soul of lingerie. And I don't want that to be something that says, ooh, naughty, 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 because really, lingerie does exactly what it's supposed to. It highlights your message with the least amount of effort, but it doesn't give everything away until the recipient asks for more. So speak your truth, speak it fast, let it lie, and then let them ask more questions. Thanks.
That is absolutely awesome. That is the best use of that quote that I've ever heard. I never thought about that before, so thank you a million times over. That is just absolutely awesome. And just for those who are watching this on the video, I'm going to share what Katrina shared and then wrap it up. She writes, listening is key. Wait, I got to reopen this chat window. Listening is key. We so often are waiting for an opening so we can say what we want, good point, rather than listening to see if it's a fit. And I find that when there's a fit, communication's actually occurring, less is required. And that's absolutely correct. And thanks for that, Katrina, too. Yeah, that is so often what we find ourselves doing. And that's the challenge for each one of us, is to make sure that we're actually listening, make sure that we're actually being present. Like Robert said, to recognize that brevity is it is very much like lingerie, and that your business transactions should be very much like lingerie. That's just such a, the best, the most powerful metaphors are the ones that make such a long-lasting impression on us. And there's a good example right there. So when you go into the marketplace, recognize that it's not so much what you say, but it is who you are that people are going to respond to. And why is that? Well, because people don't buy opportunities, people buy people. And so remember, work more on yourself than you do on your on your business, work more on yourself than you do on your income, work more on yourself than you do on making money, and the money will always follow. So this is going to be the sort of the format that we follow from this point until February when we wrap up our first year. We just proved to ourselves and to one another that we can do these programs in 15 to 20 minutes, with the exception of Fridays when we dig a little bit deeper into our spirituality and when there should be a little bit more, I think, conversation. But even on Fridays, I think we can, excuse me, make an effort to keep it brief, to recognize when we're just talking for the sake of talking, when we're talking just to hear our own voices, and maybe move to a place where we let go of our egos, we let go of the need to hear the endless chatter and to add to the noise in the world, especially at a time when we see so much of that going on social media. I've seen, and I was inspired by, and we'll close by recognizing that it was actually, excuse me, Robert's wife and partner, Laura, who inspired a lot of today's content because of what I've seen happen in the last 3 or 4 days with her engagement on social media and the refinement of her message. And that just inspired me. So thank Laura for me, Robert. That inspired me that we can all do that. We can all work on the refinement of our message so that our message is actually received more readily, because we live in a busy world. So thanks for being here today. I encourage you, as we do every day, to stay in the moment and be grateful for everything you've got. And always remember, the best is yet to come. We'll talk to you soon. Love you guys.